And joining us now in studio is the man of many titles, New York Times bestselling author and strategist, founder and editor-in-chief of All Israel and All Arab News, and host of the Rosenberg Report on TBN, Joel Rosenberg.
Amit, it's great to be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, we started talking just before the show about your visit to Gaza, and I really want to hear everything about it. What are some of the voices you heard, some of the stories you heard, some of the visuals you saw? Because I think that until you're not there, really, you can't even imagine what's happening there.
It was amazing. I had never been in Gaza. I never imagined being in Gaza, even as a reporter. But what made the trip significant was that the IDF took us into a new maze of terror tunnels, and they're just releasing the embargo today, so we were there Sunday. But they believe that Yahya Sinwar, the chief of the terrorists in Gaza, was in that bunker, and they explain why. We can get into that if you want, but and his senior commanders just days before, and we were in cages where 12 Israeli hostages, at least 12, were held and probably evacuated rapidly because everything is just turned over. Like the IDF said, we fought our way into this tunnel and these people fled. You could see half drunk bottles of soda and juice, and everything was turned over, dishes in the sink. So you're standing in the epicenter of evil, right? And you're thinking, this is unbelievable. Literally days before, our own people were there, and the worst monsters on the planet were there.
Definitely. And you know, Khan Yunis is really the biggest war zone right now. I mean, the IDF is in Khan Yunis, probably advancing to Rafah in the coming days, coming weeks.
Right.
Who's there with you in the tunnels? Like other news sites?
There were only a few others, but there were. NBC News was with us, Sky News, I-24 was with us, and the Christian Broadcasting Network. So the Trinity Broadcasting Network, TBN, and our also news site, All Israel News, which is allisrael.com. This is the first time two evangelical Christian news sites were allowed in this entire war. I don't mean allowed like we were kept out, but I think that evangelical Christians care so deeply for Israel. They are praying so fervently for the release of the hostages and for the victory of Israel. I just kept pressing the IDF spokesman unit. Listen, I understand you have to play to all the networks that hate you, but there are some people that love you, but they don't know. They need to see it with their own eyes, and it was pretty extraordinary.
Definitely, and I know you mentioned the evangelical community. The support of that community is really heartwarming, I think, in Israel, in times where the whole world, I mean, large parts of the world are turning their backs to Israel.
Right.
Could you tell me some more about the size of the community, what they're doing for Israel, just to understand?
Sure. So I'm a U.S. and an Israeli citizen, Jewish on my father's side, not on my mom's side. I'm an evangelical follower of Jesus. So I believe that Jesus is the Messiah. We have 4 sons. 2 of them have served in the IDF, one in Isuf Kravi, an intelligence unit, and one in Duv Devan, a special forces unit. So we're all in, right? And All Israel News and TBN, we're trying to explain to the world's 600 million evangelicals. That's how many evangelical Christians there are, 600 million. Now, in the United States alone, there are 60 million. So when you think of the influence, let's just say the United States, yes, obviously the Jewish community is important to me, to you, to Israel. But when you're thinking of size and impact and influence, you're talking about the 60 million evangelical Christians, most of whom are deeply pro-Israel. Many would call themselves Zionists, maybe not everybody, but they're the ones that love Israel, are giving financial support. They're sending tours, not now, but we're seeing evangelical Christian delegations. I brought a delegation of top evangelical leaders just before Christmas. Imagine evangelical leaders leaving their churches and their pulpits and their families to come here.
In times where people are
But they did it because we want to tell all of Israel, we are with you. The world may not be, but we are. And it's not political. It's theological. We know God is the God of Israel. We met with Prime Minister Netanyahu. We met with hostage families.
So really about that, what are they saying to you? We heard yesterday that at least a fifth are not alive, according to intelligence. What are you hearing from the families you met with the sister of Yarden Bibas, right?
Oh, Free Bibas,
some of the hostages that are home already.
No, exactly. Look, it's an emotional overload right now for me. On the one hand, spending time with Ofri Bibas, the aunt of the 2 youngest, It's not definite, but it's pretty certain that at least Kafir, the youngest, 1 year old, was actually in the tunnel that I was in that cage. That's what the Brigadier General said. Can you imagine a 1 year old? Now maybe he was speaking metaphorically, like a tunnel like this, but what he said was he was there. So they are telling me, the hostage family, time is running out. Now, I didn't press them to say, because this deal hadn't been offered yet, but I don't think any of them believe in surrendering to Hamas. But there's some tension. There's a tension between, there's how much time is left. People have been down there. I was down there sweating bullets. It's humid. It's hot. It's dark. It's narrow. The claustrophobia, the fear. And I got to go home, right? I got to take a shower and have dinner with my wife the same night. So I am pushing evangelicals to say, we got to pray for an immediate deal, but not at the expense of surrender. So that's what Hamas wants. But that's because they're losing. 75% of Hamas fighters dead, severely wounded, or captured. Yahya Sinwar on the run. I think they feel that pressure right now.
I think that's really the fine line, that we're waiting for their response to bring our hostages back and still continue this war, because Israel has to win this.
Absolutely.
Joel, thank you so much for joining us. You're doing an amazing job.
I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.